So I've spent the last few months, and if I'm being honest, a lot longer, just losing myself in the world of single-player games on the PS5. In an era dominated by live service games and multiplayer, there's something special about a game that just wants to tell you a great story and let you get lost in its world at your own pace. It's been a fantastic experience, and I've come away with a list of games that I feel are truly essential. I want to share them with you today, going into detail about exactly what makes them so good, from their mechanics to their storytelling. These are the gems I think are absolutely worth your time. Spider-Man 2, 2023. First up, Spider-Man 2 has set a new, almost impossibly high bar for superhero games. It's a true evolution of the formula. The swinging in Manhattan, now faster, feels incredible, but the game changer is the web wings. Being able to deploy them instantly, catch a wind tunnel, and soar across the East River from Manhattan to Queens in seconds, it's a seamless and thrilling new way to traverse. Insomniac's mastery of the PS5 is on full display. The fast travel system, where you just point to any spot on the map and appear there in under 2 seconds, is a technical marvel. The seamless switching between Peter and Miles isn't just a gimmick, it's woven into the narrative and allows for unique side missions for each hero. The combat is also refined. The new parry system adds a much-needed layer of aggressive defense, but it's the unique abilities that shine. Peter's brutal, lashing symbiote powers feel completely different from Miles' evolved blue bioelectric venom skills, making you think differently about crowd control. And the story, watching Peter struggle with the addiction of the symbiote while Miles is forced to grow up and become the city's primary protector, is a fantastic arc. Kraven is a genuinely terrifying and effective villain, not a cartoon. This is Insomniac at the absolute peak of their craft. God of War Ragnarok, 2022. Next is God of War Ragnarok. I honestly thought that 2018 God of War was a masterpiece that couldn't be topped. I was wrong. Ragnarok takes every single thing that made that game great and expands on it in a meaningful way, all while telling a deeply emotional and epic conclusion to the Norse saga. The relationship between Kratos and Atreus is the heart of it. You're watching a teenager who now knows his prophecy test boundaries. But what's new is seeing the world from Atreus' perspective. You get to play as him, and his agile, arrow-focused combat is a refreshing change of pace. The combat for Kratos is more versatile than ever before. The Draupnir spear isn't just a third weapon, it's a new core mechanic. You can stick multiple spears in enemies, detonate them all at once for massive stagger, and use them for traversal. The new shield types, like the Dauntless Shield for parrying, let you tailor your defensive playstyle. But the real star here might be the world design. This is a huge game, but the pacing is almost perfect. The side quests, or favors, are often better than main quests in other games. The entire crater area in Vanaheim, that's optional, and it's a massive open zone with its own lore, bosses, and a day-night cycle that changes the environment. It respects the player's intelligence and makes exploration constantly rewarding. Horizon Forbidden West, 2022. With Horizon Forbidden West, Guerrilla Games made the robot dinosaurs even more impressive and the world even more vast. They took everything that made Zero Dawn great and just expanded it in every direction. The map is huge, but it's the diversity that's stunning. You move from the snow mountains of the Tennoct Sky Clan to the deserts of the Lowland Clan and the stunning tropical ruins of San Francisco. Aloy has grown as a character, and you feel the weight of the world on her shoulders. The new climbing system, while it's still a bit painted yellow, is much more flexible, and the Polecaster grapple hook and shield wing glider make traversal a joy. But the real star is the machine combat. The new additions, like the giant cobra-like Slitherfang or the powerful Tremor Tusk, are incredible to fight. The ability to scan them, highlight specific parts, and strategically tear off components, like a cannon you can then use against them, is still a top-tier combat loop. And I have to mention the Complete Edition. It includes the Burning Shores DLC, which is a technical marvel. The final boss fight of that DLC, which I won't spoil, is one of the most visually impressive, how did they even do this battles I have ever seen in a video game, feeling truly next-gen. The Last of Us Part 1, 2022. I know some people dismiss The Last of Us Part 1 as just another remaster, but that's not the case at all. This is a full, from-the-ground-up rebuild, and it's the definitive way to experience this story. The technology finally matches the emotional weight. The original 2013 game had great performances, but the technology limited the facial animations. Here, using the engine from Part 2, you can see every subtle micro-expression, every flicker of doubt in Joel's eyes, every bit of defiance in Ellie's. It adds so much to their performances. But it's not just visuals. Naughty Dog implemented the enemy AI from Part 2. This is a huge deal. Encounters are no longer predictable. Enemies will try to flank you, communicate, and search for you realistically. The human-on-human fights feel more desperate and terrifying. The infected are more aggressive, and the improved 3D audio makes hearing a clicker just out of sight absolutely harrowing. The gameplay is smoother, the environmental details are richer, and the story, well, it's one of the greatest stories ever told in gaming. This remake simply ensures that it's presented in the best possible light for a new generation. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Ghost of Tsushima is a game that just draws you in. Sucker Punch created a beautiful love letter to classic samurai films, but it's also a fantastic open-world game on its own. Playing as Jin Sakai, you're constantly dealing with the central conflict between the samurai's code of honor and the practical, brutal tactics needed for survival. The game brilliantly makes you play this conflict. You can walk up to an enemy camp and call them out for a standoff, a tense, cinematic duel that rewards perfect timing. Or you can embrace the ghost play style, using stealth, fear, and tools like wind chimes and poison darts. The game never forces you, letting you blend both. The combat is superb. Learning the 4 different sword stances and switching between them on the fly to counter specific enemy types, stone for swordsmen, water for shields, etc., is a smart, engaging system. The director's cut adds Iki Island, a new area with a darker, more personal story for Jin that delves into his past. But the real star is the world itself. There are no waypoints. You follow the wind. You look for plumes of smoke or a golden bird, letting your curiosity guide you. It's an immersive and meditative experience. Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. This is the game that started it all for this new Spider-Verse, and Spider-Man Remastered holds up perfectly. This is the definitive version, with the PS5's ray tracing and 60 FPS performance modes. Swinging through Manhattan just feels right. Insomniac made the Spider-Man game many of us have been waiting for since we were kids, and they nailed the feeling of momentum and flow. What's great is that they understood that Spider-Man is only half the story. They nailed the Peter Parker side. Watching Peter juggle his real-life problems, his relationship with MJ, his job at Octavius Industries, his mentorship of a young Miles, is the core of the character, and they captured it perfectly. The combat system has that perfect flow state balance. Once you master the rhythm of dodging, webbing up enemies, using gadgets, and performing environmental takedowns, you feel like you're choreographing your own action scene. Mr. Negative was a smart choice for a villain, giving the story personal stakes for Peter. It's just a joy to play from start to finish. Death Stranding Director's Cut. Okay, Death Stranding is unconventional. It's not for everyone. And that's precisely why it's so memorable and brilliant. Hideo Kojima made a game about connection and isolation. You play as Sam, a delivery man in a post-apocalyptic America. Your main goal is literally to deliver packages, but the act of doing so is the game. You plan your route, manage your cargo weight, check the weather, and physically traverse a hostile, beautiful landscape. It's a game about hiking. The genius is the social strand system. You don't see other players, but you share a world. You might find a ladder or a climbing rope left by another player exactly where you need it. You can like their contribution, sending them a small bit of encouragement. You're all alone, but you're working together. It's a unique and surprisingly touching mechanic. The director's cut adds new delivery tools like a buddy bot that can carry cargo for you, and a cargo catapult, which, as fun as it sounds, it also adds a firing range and a racetrack. It's a strange, meditative, and wholly unique experience. Returnal, 2021. Returnal was a real welcome to the PS5 moment. Housemarque blended the punishing, addictive difficulty of a roguelike with a cryptic psychological horror story. You play as Celine, who crashes on the alien planet Metropos and is now stuck in a time loop. She dies, and she wakes up back at her ship, remembering everything. The planet shifts with every loop. The gameplay is fast, fluid, and hard. This is a bullet hell shooter. You are constantly dashing through a sea of neon projectiles. The combat is 3D and vertical, and you have to be in constant motion. The DualSense haptics are best in class. You can feel the rain on your controller, and the adaptive trigger has a brilliant dual function. Press halfway to aim, press all the way down to activate your alt fire. The story isn't told to you, it's a mystery you piece together. You find cryptic audio logs, xenoglyphs that slowly translate an alien language, and you're haunted by those terrifying first-person house sequences that delve into Celine's trauma. It's a masterpiece of atmosphere and rewarding challenge. Final Fantasy XVI, 2023. Square Enix took a bold new direction with Final Fantasy XVI, and it paid off. This is a dark, mature, and epic story focused on Clive Rossfield. It's more Game of Thrones than traditional Final Fantasy, with a heavy focus on political intrigue, war, and betrayal. The icon battles, the big summon fights, are on a scale I've never seen. You're not just watching a cutscene, you're participating in a spectacular, multi-phase battle that feels like a kaiju movie, a shmup, and a character action game all at once. The combat system is pure, fast-paced action, developed by the combat director from Devil May Cry 5. It's accessible, but the skill ceiling is huge. You chain abilities from different icons, creating stunning combos. The story tackles mature themes of power, slavery, and what it means to live and die on your own terms. Ben Starr's voice performance as Clive is phenomenal. And a killer feature, active time lore. You can pause any cutscene, and the game will give you who's who and what's what reminders, which is a lifesaver in a story this dense with nations and characters. Baldur's Gate 3. Larian Studios took the idea of choices matter to a level no one was prepared for. Baldur's Gate 3 isn't just an RPG, it's a complex simulation of relationships, tactical combat, and branching narratives that all react to you. Choices matter is an understatement. This is a game of systems. A locked door might have 10 solutions. You can pick the lock, find the key, break it down, use a spell to turn yourself into a cat and crawl through a pipe, or just stack 50 barrels of gunpowder and blow the whole wall up. The game doesn't just allow this, it expects it. The turn-based combat is like a tactical chess match where creativity is rewarded. Using the environment, shoving enemies off cliffs, setting oil on fire, electrocuting water is key. And the companions. They aren't just party members. They're complex, flawed, and beautifully written characters. Asterion's, Shadowheart's, and Lae'zel's personal quests are some of the best written stories in RPG history. A single playthrough can top 100 hours, and you'll immediately want to start another just to see what happens when you make different choices. Alan Wake 2, 2023. Remedy Entertainment took 13 years to make this sequel, and they delivered, a psychological horror masterpiece. Alan Wake 2 confidently plays with storytelling conventions and different media. You play as two characters, Alan, trapped in the dark place, and Saga Anderson, an FBI agent investigating ritualistic murders. The meta-narrative isn't just a plot point, it's the core gameplay mechanic. As Saga, you use your Mind Place, an explorable menu where you add clues to a case board to profile suspects and piece together the mystery. As Alan, you use your writer's room to find plot points in the world and then apply them to scenes, literally changing the environment around you to solve puzzles. The horror is top-notch, shifting from the Twin Peaks-style weirdness of Saga's story to the David Lynch-style nightmarish dread of Alan's. But the highlight? The We Sing chapter. It's a full-on live-action rock musical in the middle of a horror game that somehow works. It's one of the most creatively brave things I've ever seen. Lies of P, 2023. Lies of P is one of the best Souls-like games ever made, period. It's not just a clone. It takes the Bloodborne formula and adds its own unique mechanics. You play as P, a puppet in the dark Gothic city of Krat. The game's Pinocchio premise is used brilliantly with its lying system. At key moments, you can lie or tell the truth. Lying builds your humanity, which affects the story, the NPCs, and which ending you get. The combat feels fantastic. It's fast, aggressive, and built around a perfect guard system that rewards precise timing. The P-Organ upgrade system gives you meaningful new abilities. But the star is the weapon system. You can mix and match any blade with any handle, creating thousands of combinations. Want the speed of a dagger but the reach of a spear handle? You can do that. It's an incredible system for build crafting. The boss fights are spectacular, and the world design is a masterclass in Gothic horror. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is a perfect showcase for the PS5 and one of the most polished platformers ever made. The way it uses the SSD to have you jump between different dimensions is still mind-blowing. These dimensional rifts aren't just a gimmick. You'll be in the middle of a boss fight and the boss will slam the ground, shattering reality and instantly pulling you into a completely different, fully rendered world. It's seamless. Rivet, the new character, is a fantastic addition. She's not just a female Ratchet, but a fully formed, well-acted character. The game's story is surprisingly heartfelt, dealing with themes of trust, failure, and self-worth. The weapons are as creative as ever. The topiary sprinkler turns enemies into plants. The ricochet has you bouncing a shot off an enemy multiple times. And the DualSense is used perfectly. The adaptive triggers have dual functions for almost every weapon, like pulling halfway to aim and all the way to fire. It's a visual and technical feast from start to finish. Demon's Souls. Bluepoint Games didn't just remake Demon's Souls, they resurrected a legend. They honored the original game that started the whole Souls-like genre while completely rebuilding it for modern hardware. The game is visually stunning. Every location, from the Gothic spires of Boletaria to the nightmarish fleshy prison of the Tower of Latria, has been recreated with unbelievable detail and atmosphere. They kept the original's challenging, deliberate difficulty, but added smart quality-of-life improvements. The non-existent load times are a game-changer, turning the die and retry loop from frustrating to a much smoother learning process. The combat is weighty and deliberate. It's a tactical puzzle where you have to be patient. And this game has the unique world tendency system. Your actions, like dying in human form, can make a world's tendency shift toward black, making enemies harder but offering better rewards. It's a fascinating, opaque system that makes the game feel alive. Stellar Blade 2024. Shift Up Stellar Blade is one of the most stylish action games I've played in a long time. It blends the philosophical storytelling and desolate world of Nier with the high-skill, parry-based combat of Sekiro. You play as Eve, an android warrior fighting to reclaim Earth. The story has some great twists and deals with themes of humanity and purpose. But the combat is the star. It's all about timing. You can't just button mash. You have to learn enemy attack patterns and master the perfect parry and perfect dodge. Nailing these timings fills a beta meter, allowing you to unleash powerful special moves. It's a deep and incredibly rewarding system. The game also features extensive skill trees, lots of outfits and customization for Eve, and a fantastic soundtrack. The world design is beautiful and haunting, and the enemy designs are grotesque and creative. If you love stylish, challenging action games, this is a must-play. Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Kena Bridge of Spirits looks like a playable Pixar movie. It's one of the most charming games I've played, but don't let the art style fool you, it's also unexpectedly challenging. You play as Kena, a spirit guide helping lost souls, and the story deals with themes of grief and loss in a very touching way. The Rot, your adorable little companions, are central to the game. You find them scattered in the world, and they're not just cute, they are your main tool. In combat, you can direct the Rot to swarm enemies, stun them, or empower your own attacks. In puzzles, they help you move objects and clear corruption. The combat itself is surprisingly complex, with a parry system and spirit-based bow and arrow combat. The boss fights are genuinely difficult and will test your skills. What makes Kena special is how it blends its presentation with its story. As you help spirits find peace, you literally watch the corrupted world heal and become beautiful again. It's a fantastic debut from an indie studio. Deathloop. Arcane Studios created a really stylish and clever puzzle shooter with Deathloop. The entire game is one giant puzzle box. It's about gathering information, recognizing patterns, and figuring out how to pull off the perfect loop. You play as Colt, stuck on an island in a time loop, trying to assassinate 8 targets, the Visionaries, in a single day to break free. The catch is, they're all in different places at different times. You need to explore the island's 4 districts across 4 time periods: morning, noon, afternoon, evening. The aha moment is when you realize you don't just hunt them, you manipulate them. You learn that one target will be at a party, but only if another target isn't there. So you find a way to sabotage one target's experiment, making her go to the party so you can get them both at once. The gunplay is solid, but the supernatural abilities like Blink for teleporting or Nexus to link enemies together so one headshot kills them all are what make you feel creative. It's a brilliant game that rewards your intelligence.